Hello everyone, welcome back to Virtual Lab Infra once again my YouTube channel on our ongoing Windows Server training series. Today's topic is FSMO, which is also called FSMO roles. So today's session we are going to discuss about FSMO, which is flexible single master operation, and also we'll discuss how exactly organization use it on their organization and why it is most important topic for server administrator or IT admin people. Most people learning Active Directory completely ignore this topic, and that's exactly why they fail interviews. So today I will show you FSMO roles, one of the most critical concept in Active Directory. But not just the theory, we will break it down simply, run a live lab demo, transfer role using GUI as well as PowerShell. So we'll first see how we can transfer these roles from one domain controller to other domain controller using a GUI method, and also we'll see how through a simple PowerShell command by just hitting the enter, your FSMO roles get transferred to different domain controller. So by the end of this video, you will understand FSMO better than the most admin do. So let's get us started. Think of Active Directory like team project. So normally, all domain controllers can make changes, even whether the people are accessing domain controller 01, they are authenticating through the domain controller 01, or either from the domain controller 02, they can make changes anytime, any file. So just understand, just imagine everyone is editing the same file at once. That would create conflict, right? So same file, if everyone is editing, that will make a conflict. So Microsoft introduced FSMO role, which is flexible single master operation, where only one server handles the critical tasks. So these roles belongs to Active Directory Domain Services, which is ADDS. So these 5 roles, if you look at here, FSMO roles are based on, it categorized on 2 different part, which is forest level and domain level. So forest level, it comes under Schema Master, Domain Naming Master, and the domain level RID Master, PDC Emulator, and Infrastructure Master. We are going to discuss all these roles and their uses. So if I talk about Schema Master, so forest level, if you talk about Schema Master, Schema Master is one which controls the structure of Active Directory, like adding an attribute, removing the attribute, making any changes on the attribute. So a Schema Master is responsible for those kind of changes. Wherein Domain Naming Master controls the domain creation, deletion. Like when you join your domain or make any changes on the domain, your domain naming master is responsible for that that changes. So domain wide level, if you talk about, we have RID master, PDC emulator, infrastructure master. So RID, sorry. So RID master generates unique SID identity number. So let's understand this way. So let's say we have user one, we have user two. What will happen when both having same name, user one and user two? Even though if you create a user one and user two, it will be unique in ID. So let's say your SID, if you look at your user account, that will every user ID will be having a different unique ID. So even though your multiple users are created with same name, still it will have the different user ID or the unique user ID. So our ID master generates the unique SID, which which is called identity number. Now PDC emulator, it is the most important role of the Active Directory domain and services, which controls password updates, time synchronization, and authentication in priority. So whenever you see there is a authentication happening, a time syncs or password update, this is the most important role that handles this kind of changes. Now the last, infrastructure master, it updates the project reference across the domain. So let's jump to our demo session where we have created a lab demo with two domain controllers. If you look at here, we had created two domain controller, WinDC01 and WinDC02. Let's quickly see our configuration of this domain controllers and what are the role that we have installed so far. So WinDC101 is nothing but our primary domain controller, and WinDC02 is our secondary domain controller. So primary domain controller, if you see, we have given a static IP with 192.168.1.0 and for secondary domain controller we have given 11, and we have installed same roles like ADDS role, DSCP role, DNS, and we have created a backup server with DC02 with all same roles, and also we had make sure all the replications happening between both the servers are working as expected. What what does that mean? When your first server goes down, your second server is handling all the roles. Even though DSCP scope, like it is able to assign the automatic IP to computers, even though the first server goes down. So this kind of configuration we had created on our previous sessions. So now to check which server is holding which kind of roles, FSMO roles, to check that you can go to command prompt, open CMD, and simply type netdom query FSMO. If you look at here, my all the roles, FSMO roles are pointing towards our primary domain controller, which is WinDC01. Our Schema Master, Domain Naming Master, PDC, RID Pool Manager, Infrastructure. All five roles are pointing to first domain controllers. So when I talk about transferring these roles to different domain controller, why exactly we need to do that? So the reason behind is these are the critical roles, and as we discuss, all these roles having different responsibilities. So what happens? Even though your domain controller goes down, secondary server do all the job, but it all depends upon the roles which is assigned to which server actually. So if let's say if your PDC role is belongs to domain controller 01, even the multi-level uh, operations are available, but still there is a chance of the authentication failure or your unique ID changes won't appear properly. So that is where organization they keep multiple domain controllers and they distribute the important roles, FSMO roles to particular domain controllers. So that is what we are going to discuss in this session, and we'll make sure the roles, FSMO roles being transferred to secondary domain controller, and also we'll see how we can transfer back to our WinDC01, our primary domain controller. So let's get started. So first we are going to see how we can do this via GUI method. To do it in GUI method, uh, open Active Directory, users and computer. Now first thing first, right click on Active Directory users computer and change the domain controller and select to domain controller where you want to point point the roles. So first we are going to transfer we are going to transfer RID, PDC and infrastructure. So to do that, first you need to connect to which server you want to point these roles. So you need to click on OK. So now the server, secondary server is connected, or whichever server you want to change the FSMO roles, transfer the FSMO roles actually. So right click on it. So once it's connected, right click on the domain, click on operation master. Now you can see RID, PDC and infrastructure. So if you look at again our diagram, so we are going to domain level roles we are going to transfer. RID master, PDC and infrastructure. So from Win DC01 to DC02, click on change. It will ask you to confirm. Are you sure want to transfer this operation master role? Yes. Successfully transferred. PDC, change. Click on yes. Similarly for infrastructure, click on change. Yes. Now, if you look at here, our infrastructure changed to DC02. Our PDC has been transferred to Win DC02. Similarly, our ID has transferred to Win DC02. Now let's quickly verify. So type in netdom query FSMO. So if you look at here, except Schema Master and Domain Naming Master, our PDC, RID and Infrastructure Master has been successfully transferred to WinDC02. Same thing can verify here as well. CMD netdom query FSMO. So RID, sorry, PDC, RID and infrastructure has been transferred to this DC01, DC02 server. Now to change schema master and domain naming master, click on close. Now we'll have to open Active Directory, domain and trust. Go to server manager, click on tool. Make sure you have been connected to the server to which you want to transfer these roles. So it's already it's selected Win DC02. If not, you have to click on, sorry, you will have to click on change domain. So once this has been selected, right click on it, click on operation master. Now click on change. So let me know. So if you can see here, our operation master, domain naming operation master is going to transfer from Win DC01 to DC02. Click on change, click on yes. Now again go back. If you press the up arrow, your previous command will come up. Just press enter. Now our domain naming master along with PDC, RID and infrastructure has been transferred successfully to Win DC02, our secondary server. Now the last role, schema master. To transfer the schema master, you will have to open MMC. You can just type run MMC. Click on file, add remove snap-in. Now go to command prompt and type register server 32, which is REG SBR 32 space schema management, which is sch schema management dll. What this going to do is it will come up, this will be hidden actually. So once you enter this, once you run this command, now the active directory schema will added in the snapping tool. So you can see, let me click on add snap-in. So if you can see, this active directory schema is now get added. I had click on add and click OK. So now it is reflecting now. If you click on OK, this one will show up. So now right click on active directory schema, go to operation master. Here you will have to click on. So now you can see the schema master is getting transferred from WinDC01 to 2. Click on change, click on yes. Now the schema master role has been transferred. So now all our roles are changed. If you click on netdom query FSMO, you should be able to see all the roles are now transferred to WinDC02, which is our secondary domain controller. Now with PowerShell script, we will move all these roles to roll back to our domain controller 01. Open PowerShell. Remember that you are opening this PowerShell as a run as administrator, so that your PowerShell will have administrator privilege to make these changes. So just close the back the previous tabs. Click on OK. We don't need this. Type move. Operation master space hyphen identity. So whenever if you use PowerShell IAC, it is a powerful predefined commands will be come up here. So it's very good uh, as compared to normal PowerShell application. So I'm going to use identity. So now you have to mention from which server you're transferring role to which server. So I'm going to use WinDC02 because my all the roles are transferred to WinDC02 hyphen operation master role space 0 comma 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 and run this command. Yes to all. So now the PowerShell command has been run successfully. Now let's go back to our command prompt and check. Sorry, it should be 1. Now run the command. Click on yes to all. So now our okay. So RID pool manager. So RID infrastructure and PDC has been moved. For this too, it says the activity service is unavailable. So let's fix this. So this is a troubleshooting step, guys. Like this is how you will fix. So instead of transferring all the role, let's try with a specific role. So now as you can see, our PDC RID and domain naming master, PDC RID and infrastructure has been changed. So we need to look for schema master and domain naming master. Move hyphen operation master hyphen identity WinDC 02 operation role. Now we're gonna give schema master. To run the particular command, a particular line, just click on the line and click on run the selection button. Click on yes to all. Now let's quickly go and check. It is still. Let's change the WinDC 01. So it should move to WinDC 01, right? So let's select the second command, yes to all, and it's giving error again. So let's fix this first. So first thing first, let's ping 02, which is reachable. Control C, NS lookup. So now we are trying to check the DNS is getting resolved with our secondary server or not. Which is getting resolved. We are getting IP and server name. We are able to ping the server. Let's check the DNS IP config/all, and it is pointing to our DNS server 10 secondary DNS server. We have given a static IP, so it says DNS DSCP is not enabled. That's right. Subnet mask is correct. All is good. So let's try to move this FSMO role from secondary server. Open PowerShell. So you can directly do it from here, or you can use ISC. So let's copy paste. So it's not happening. So let's open ISC. So in our upcoming session, we will discuss more about PowerShell scripting. So our next session will be a group policy. We'll apply group policy like wallpaper to all our domain joined computers, and we'll see how the wallpaper is getting changed. Then we'll see certain settings, and then we'll move forward to PowerShell scripting, where we will do a lot of automation like rebooting servers, connecting multiple servers, logging multiple servers, check Windows update, by a script. You don't need to log in hundred of servers. Instead, you can run the PowerShell script, and you can, in the single click, you can get all the information. So that's all we are going to cover in our next session. So let's quickly transfer this role, a schema master role, from DC02 to DC01. So let's use this move operation masters role identity. So this is when DC02 operation master role, and we are trying to schema master. Since we have only one script, when one command, so you can directly use this. Click on use to all. Now look at here. Still it's not happening. Now change it to DC01. It's to all. Still we are getting services are unavailable. Let's ping when DC01. It's pinging, and let's look up when DC01. It's resolving IP config slash all, and all looks good. So let's check the application. To check the application, use repadmin slash replsummary. Hit enter. There is no error. 0 fails. Total 5. No errors. Slash. Everything so success. What else we can check? DC diag, which is passing all the services. No errors. This is a warning. That's okay. I do not see any issue, but so PowerShell is not helping, guys. So this is how you will transfer your FSMO roles from one domain controller to second domain controller. Since it is not happening, let's do it in a GUI. So that this is the exact command actually. So when it comes to real time or environment, you will be able to do with this PowerShell script actually. It's a very simple move. When you type move hyphen, automatically you will get the commands like ID, active directory, server operation roles, then identity you have to give, from which server to which server you are trying to transfer, or which server you want to transfer, you have to give this. So we are trying to transfer from a schema master role from DC01 to DC02 to 1. So you have to give the destination server name. Likewise, I have given secondary server actually when we did. So it's failing actually. So not an issue. So this is how you will transfer the role through GUI and as well as PowerShell. So let's transfer this schema role. So go to server manager, click on tools, go to domain and trust, right click on edit domain controllers, change from 2 to 1, click on change, click on yes. So from GUI it is happening without any issue. Click on see, and as you can see, all 4 roles are transferred. Now we will transfer the Schema Master. To transfer the Schema Master, again we have to run the DLL command. Type space schema management.dll. Now open MMC file, add remove snap-in. So now Active Directory schema snap-in is available. Click on add, click on OK. Now right click on Active Directory schema. Okay, we'll have to change from domain controller 0 to domain controller 1. Click on OK and refresh it. Now click on Operation Master. Now it shows 0 to 01. So let's click on change. Yes. OK. Close. Now go back and check your netdom query FSMO roles. So now all the FSMO roles are transferred back. So PowerShell, guys, don't worry. The PowerShell script actually, since this is a lab environment, and we are enabling firewall, and so we don't have a proper uh, infrastructure here. So that is where we have to troubleshoot more. Actually, we can troubleshoot more why it is not working. Like we have checked so far, we checked all the DNS entries are perfect. We are getting the resolved DNS information with IP address as well. We are able to ping the DNS as well as we can see their applications are proper. For some reason it's not happening, but yes, the GUI is happening. That shows our application is working fine and our FSMO roles are getting transferred without any issue. So just few things to notice. If your PDC time configuration, which is we just discuss about PDC emulator, if it is fails, if this is fails, your authentication will fail. So that is why we should make sure our PDC roles are transferred properly and able to communicate with secondary server or any server which you want to transfer the roles. So few recommendation, if you are configuring in your organization or production environment, keep the PDC emulator, which is our third third role. Keep this PDC emulator role transfer to stable server, which you are sure that this server has proper configuration and resource and your most stable server. So let's say if you have two DC server, keep four roles: your PDC, domain naming master, infra master. You can keep infrastructure master on the secondary server. You can keep all four roles to your primary server. So this is how you will distribute the roles so that your domain controller will able to handle all the necessary services. There is something called siege role. That is something when your domain controller holding all the FSMO roles. Like in our case, our all the roles are available in domain controller 1. If this server permanently goes down or you are not able to recover this server, then you cannot transfer roles, right? Instead, you must siege this role. So there is a command called ntd-util, which will help you to seize the roles. So that's all, guys. Today we have covered FSMO concept, all 5 roles. We have seen how we can transfer these roles from GUI method as well as PowerShell. We have seen real world scenario. We have seen how we can troubleshoot this kind of issue when it comes. What are the most important things we need to check when this kind of FSMO roles are not able to transfer by checking DNS entries, checking the server is reachable or not, and checking if your DNS is able to resolve this secondary server or any server that you're trying to point this FSMO roles. If you want more real-time labs like this, request you to like my videos, share with your friends, subscribe to Virtual Lab in from my channel. See you in the next session, guys. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye bye.